What is up, YouTube? In this video, I'm gonna show y'all how to not call Zillow leads, right? If y'all know anything about me, I came up off of making money. Almost 90% of my deals come from Zillow for sale by owners, okay? And there's a few lessons that I learned when I first started calling leads on Zillow, all right? And after being a coach for about a year, 2 years now, uh, I see the same mistakes made by students every single day, right? And I'm gonna go over some of those mistakes in this video, okay? And I want to make sure that you guys don't make these same mistakes, okay? And let me tell you some of the things that I hear from a lot of the students who end up not seeing success, even the people who aren't students, just people who reach out to me, right? A lot of them say nobody's answering on Zillow, nobody's accepting my offer, all the sellers want too high of a price point. I can't hit my KPIs, right? If y'all know anything about my channel, there's a success formula to make money on Zillow, right? You have to hit a certain amount of KPIs. What are KPIs? KPIs stand for key performance indicators, all right? They are keys that indicate your performance. There are metrics and numbers that you must hit in order to have success, okay? And I keep hearing the same things over and over. So in this video, I'm gonna show you what not to do when you are calling leads on Zillow, okay? And Zillow for sale by owner, let me tell you something else. I don't care what anybody says, period. Zillow for sale by owners are the number one lead source that you could possibly get. They are the most efficient and effective leads that you could get for free at the price point that you're getting them. Why? Because they are basically PPC leads, right? If you know anything about wholesale real estate, I'm sure you've heard of the term PPC, pay per click. People pay tens of thousands of dollars every single month to set up Google ads to where if you search up sell my house cash or sell my house fast on Google, you'll see like a few things that pop up first, and people pay a lot of money for people to click on those ads, right? So they click on the ad and they fill out a form, and then that company, that PPC, whoever was paying for PPC, whoever they click on, they'll call that lead who filled out the form and they'll get their information, and that's a hot lead, right? Those are the most expensive leads that you could possibly pay for, period. Zillow for sale by owner is just as effective. It is just as efficient, and it is just as valuable and motivated as $10,000 PPC leads. Why is that? Is because these Zillow for sale by owner leads are taking the time out of their day to go on a website, not only fill out a form, but put their public information on the internet and take the time out their day to take pictures of their house and post it on Zillow. And they're willing to take hundreds of phone calls every single day by randoms. Yo, it doesn't get more motivated than that, period. If somebody's willing to go online, fill out a form, fill out all the specs and information for their house, put their number out as public information, and then be willing to take phone calls day in and day out for their house, bro, I don't know who is more motivated than that. That is a motivated lead. So get out of the mindset of whatever guru told you that Zillow is saturated or Zillow, they're not motivated. It doesn't get more motivated than Zillow, okay? I am closing 20 grand a month just from Zillow. Okay. I still do Zillow to this day, even though I have 7 cold callers, a call center, I have 2 acquisition managers, I have a VA, I have Dispo, trans, all that. Even though I have a full business, we still get leads from Zillow. We're still making money from Zillow. Okay. I have a $17,000 deal closing from Zillow. That should be at the very end of this month, July. Right. And then I have another lead from Zillow closing next week. That's for 13,000. So don't let anybody get in your head and tell you that Zillow doesn't work, or don't get in your own head and tell yourself that Zillow doesn't work, because right here, right now, I'm about to show you what not to do and how to stay out of your own way. All right, so let's get it. I'm going to share my screen. All right. So boom, I'm on YouTube right now, right? So this is what you should do. See this right here, this little Zillow tab? You want to click Zillow. Well, first of all, you want to have it bookmarked. Like I have it bookmarked right here with all my other bookmarks. Click on Zillow. when I click on Zillow, it automatically brings me to how I have it saved. These filters are non-negotiable. You should have them every single time. The max price point that you want to go for is 200, sometimes 250. Okay. No higher than that. That's where all the deals are. Anything higher than that, it's probably not going to be a deal, especially if it's on Zillow. Home type, I just have houses and multifamily selected. Beds, bath, I leave that blank. Obviously, you want to have it for sale, not for rent, not sold. And under more, these filters, only owner posted. Usually when you click on Zillow, all these other things are going to be selected. You want to unselect those, okay? And then days on Zillow, I'll give y'all a little tip, right? Usually I look at any at first. That's how I have it saved. But the hottest leads are the houses that have been posted within the last 24 hours. Those are the hottest leads. A lot of people will tell you that the hottest leads are the ones that have been on here for like 90 plus days. Those are not the hottest leads. Those are the most worn out leads. Those are the leads that I really stay away from. I don't do Zillow leads that have been on there for like 90 something days. That's a huge major red flag because there's a reason why they have not sold yet. There's a reason why they are still on Zillow for 90 plus days. Those leads are way more likely to hang up in your face, curse you out, not answer the phone, and just be delusional on price and don't want to budge. Okay. One day on Zillow, days on Zillow, one day, top tier. Those are the best leads that you could get. Okay. Similar to PPC. When you get a PPC lead in, right? If you're paying tens of thousands of dollars for Google marketing, if that lead comes in, you have like 60 seconds to call that lead. Same thing with this. The newer it is, the better it is, because you want to be the first person to call that person and make a good impression, right? Before, especially if it's a hot lead. Like if it's a hot lead and they just posted their house on Zillow, especially if it's in a hot market, let's say like Dallas, Texas, or Tampa, Florida, best believe people are going to call it. The savages, the professionals, they're going to call them as soon as possible and they're going to get them on the phone as soon as possible. So you want to call them before their phone gets blown up and before they decide like this isn't worth it anymore. Because trust me, if it's a hot lead and they put it on Zillow, their phone is going to get blown up. So you want to call them before they go through the bull crap of all the other amateurs and wholesalers. Okay. So mistake number one that I see a lot of wholesalers make when they go on Zillow. Well, that's one, right? Calling the leads that have been on here for like 90 plus days, 30 plus days. Don't do that. You want to go for the one day on Zillow. See this? This got posted 57 minutes ago, right? I would call this. I would just skim through the pictures like this. That's another thing. Don't take, like, you don't have to click on every one like this and then, no. I just scan the pictures really quick, just like this with these two little arrows, and I see if it needs work. This one obviously needs work, but as you could tell, this is a mobile home. I try to stay away from mobile homes, but that doesn't completely disqualify it, right? This is a mobile home too, you could tell, right? I'll just skim through the pictures. Okay, it's pretty nice. All right, this looks fully remodeled, so I would not call this, but I would call this. Okay, so the mistake that a lot of wholesalers make when they get on here is you see how I said I would just call this? Most wholesalers would just skip past this. They would skip past this, skip past this. They'd maybe click on that, maybe. What are they doing? What are they doing? They're over analyzing and cherry picking. There is a certain metric that you have to hit every single day, and that's 20 conversations a day. 20 conversations and three 30-minute script offers. Okay. If you guys want my Zillow script, just DM me on Instagram. No, comment on any one of my Instagram posts the word script, and it'll just send automatically to your DMs. My Zillow script that I use to this day. I still use that Zillow script. It is a perfect script. I took years formulating and customizing that script, and now I don't touch it because it is perfect. Right? But most wholesalers, they'll like skim through this and they won't call anything. They might call that just because it just looks so good. Right? Why does it look good? It's because I mean the first picture looks super outdated, needs work on the outside, and it's a house. You know, you could flip through the pictures and you could see like this house obviously needs some work. But what you don't want to do is skip past all these. Don't do that. A lot of wholesalers will skim past 50 houses before they make their first call. You think that that person's going to answer? You think the first person you call is going to answer? No. You have to make 100 dials just for like 20 people to answer the phone. And out of those 20 people, maybe like 3 of them might be willing to talk to you. So that's like the biggest major mistake that I see most wholesalers make is they cherry pick and they overanalyze. If it doesn't look updated like this one does, right? This is clearly updated, new floors, paint, like they just did the bathroom, redid the bathroom. This looks updated, right? So I wouldn't call this at first. And I'm gonna get back to this at the end of the day, because if it's towards the end of the day and I haven't hit my KPIs, at that point I'm just calling absolutely anything. One, why would I do that? I'm gonna call it to build my skill set. A lot of wholesalers, they think that this is why they cherry pick too, because they're just searching for a deal. They're searching for a deal too much. Stop searching for the deal. Because for one, if you've never even closed a deal before, you don't even know what a deal looks like. You don't even know what a deal is. So you have no right trying to cherry pick and trying to find a deal on here. No, you need to call as many people as possible, and you do it consistently over a long enough period of time. That's the name of the game, consistency over a long enough period of time. I say this day in and day out. Okay. Do something so much over a long enough period of time that it would be unreasonable for you to not achieve your goals. That's the magic formula. Most people just want to call a few leads and expect to hit a home run when they make a few calls. That's not how this works. This is a game of volume. Wholesale real estate is about volume. This is a sales industry, sales and volume sales at that. So you have no right trying to go through, oh, that doesn't look good. No, that doesn't look good. This one doesn't have pictures. Nah, probably not good. This one, no, it doesn't look good enough to me. Don't do that. I didn't get here by doing that. I'm telling you how I got here, how I got to where I'm at. I did it by calling any and everybody. The only ones that I would pass up in my initial like starting of the day is the ones that look like this, that are obviously blatantly fixed up. But if it's towards the end of the day and I only have 15 conversations and 2 offers made, I'm calling this one and I'm making an offer and I'm treating it like how I would treat every other lead. That's another thing. Treat every lead the same. Don't overanalyze and say, oh, they're asking too much. It's not worth it. You only spend, or right when you get on the phone with them, they'll tell you, look, I know you're an investor. I'm not coming down on my price. So if you're going to lowball me, or if you're coming $5,000 or $10,000 below my asking price, you're wasting your time. Most of you guys will hear that from a seller and get discouraged. Don't do that. You are in control of your destiny. You are in control of your life. You are in control of how much money you make, not the sellers. The sellers don't control nothing. My second $100,000 deal, right? That was $100,500 in one single assignment fee. I did that 2 times. But the second time, that house was fixed up all the way. That house was just a normal, it was not a fixer-upper, none of that. And it was a $2 million house. Most of you guys would shy away from that. Don't shy away from it. If they want to sell, you offer them the solution. Okay? We're not in real estate, we are in sales. And real estate just so happens to be one of the things that we sell. Okay? So I would click on this one. I'd call it straight up. I don't care if it's a mobile home. They want to sell. They're a motivated seller. They took the time to fill out. I'm going to call them. Bam. So I'm going to call this number. Boom. And yeah, this description looks good. This looks like a homeowner. Sounds like a homeowner. And it looks like they have a pretty distressed property. So I'm going to call it. Right? That's really the main thing that I want to talk about is when you go on here, don't overanalyze. I'm going to call this one. Then I'm going to call this one. You guys see something with no pictures and you think, oh man, they don't have any pictures. This isn't a good lead because you don't see a distressed property. Let's just say that's mistake number 3. The leads or the Zillow leads with no pictures, those are the best leads. Why? Because amateurs see it and they're like, oh, there's no pictures. And they don't call it. What are you talking about? That's why I call it, is because I'm thinking, what is my competition doing? What are the other, because there's millions of wholesalers out here. And like 99% of them are amateurs. 99% of them say the same thing, go through the same questions, and they aggravate the seller. They don't build rapport. They don't build connection. And they skip over houses like this. Don't be like that. Don't be like the amateurs. Call this one. This is a good lead right here. Just because it doesn't have pictures. That's why it's a good lead. No bed, no bath, no description. This is perfect. This is perfect. Call it. See what's up with it. Like, why is there no pictures? Why is there no bed bath? What is it? Is this land? Is this a mobile home? Is this a house? What's the acreage? They don't have no information on here. This is the best lead that you could get. Why? Bro, nobody's going to call it. That's why it's the best lead. You want to stand out. You want to be different. You don't want to be like the 99% of wholesalers who skip over things like this, right? And don't do the right things. This is the number one thing that you want to call. The ones with no pictures, no information, no nothing. Call it, bro. Call it. So boom, that's what I would do. I would call this one. I would go through a 30-minute offer script. I would call this one, go through a 30-minute offer script. This one, like I said, it's pretty fixed up for the most part, but I could tell that someone lives there just by like this little picture right here. So I'd call it. I would call it. I would call this one. This one is in Dallas. So when something's in a hot city or a major metro like Dallas, look at this. 21 hours it's been up, not even a full day, and it has 219 views. Single family home, fixer upper, huge lot. I'm calling this. I'm a little late to the party, right? How do you know if it's a good lead or a hot lead? If it has 100 views or more within 24 hours or less, it's a hot lead. So this is obviously this is as hot as it gets as a lead. Don't get discouraged. Call this one. 0.33 acres, built in 1950. The Zestimate is 230. They're asking 200. So off dump. This is as hot as it gets. They're asking below the Zestimate. They really don't even have any pictures up. This is just a street view, a Google Street View picture. Right? And here's another thing, mistake number 4. Like I said, don't overanalyze. Don't take the time out to run comps, okay, before you call it. Don't run comps before you call the property. Stop doing that, right? How are you going to run comps on this? I don't think you can. That's the house. I don't even know if that's really the right house right there, but I don't know. Who knows? Well, you have to call them to find out. But stop running comps before you call people. That's another mistake. One, they cherry pick, right? They judge the lead before they even call it. So they take forever to make a phone call. Y'all supposed to get on Zillow, click on the bookmark so everything pops up like it's already saved, and you just call the first one, 57 minutes. You call it. I'm not looking at comps. I'm not over analyzing the pictures. I'm not over analyzing the neighborhood. I'm not judging the lead. I just see something and I dial the number on my cell phone as soon as possible. Here's another thing that people do. They dial the number one time and then they move on. Stop, stop, stop. There's a saying in sales that goes, if you didn't double dial them, you didn't really dial them. If you didn't call them 2 times back to back, you didn't really call them. I triple dial. But really, I ain't gonna lie, I call them 5 times in a row. And a lot of y'all are scared to do that. For what? What are they gonna do? Beat you up? Find out where you live? Come to your house? What are they gonna do? Nothing. Dial them 5 times in a row if you have to, especially this one. This one right here. This is a hot lead. And they already have 200 views. And it hasn't even been a day yet. So this is like, guys, this is as hot as it gets. So you best believe that I'm dialing them 5 to 10 times in a row, back to back to back until they answer. And if they answer, here's another thing. Like, you guys prejudge the lead. You think that they're going to be mad at you when they answer the phone. Most of the time, they're not. They're just going to answer the phone like, who is this? Who's calling me this much? They're going to answer the phone, and you're going to have a positive attitude like, hey, how you doing? Hey, I was calling about the house on Zillow, right? 9 times out of 10, they're not going to be like, don't call my phone. They're not going to be like that. If they are like that at first, okay, well, you probably don't even want to talk to them anyways. So screw them. Move on. But dial them 3 times minimum. 2 times usually is the standard, but we don't want to do the standard. We want to be above and beyond the standard. You want to dial them at least 3 times. And when you get them on the phone, act like nothing happened. Be like, hey, I was calling about your house on Zillow. If they do say something about it, just be like, yeah, sorry, I just wanted to make sure that I got in contact with you because I could see that you got about 200 views on here. So I'm sure that your phone's being blown up. I want to make sure that when I call you, I get you on the phone and that this is probably the last phone call that you ever have to take. Right? Say something like, I understand that your phone's probably been beaten up on the short amount of time that you had it on Zillow. The hardest part of my job is dealing with the hundreds of amateurs that you probably had to deal with before me. So I don't mind wearing the black eye on this phone call for all the other phone calls that you've gotten. But what I can promise you, Mr. Seller, is that this phone call is going to be unlike any of the other phone calls. I'm going to try to stand out and be different as possible and make sure that I get you the most amount of money possible. Right? Just stand out, be different, say something, smooth like that. But this is a hot lead. I'm probably going to call this in a second. Um, don't overanalyze. That's the biggest thing. And I'm giving y'all different ways that most people overanalyze. They'll just spend, this is what they'll do. They'll spend 30 minutes flipping through. So let's flip this back to any. There's 281 leads for you guys to call. You should be dialing every single one of these until you hit the KPIs. You understand? But most people, they will skim through, maybe call that one, but they don't answer, right? I'm sure they wouldn't answer on the first phone call because they already got 200 something views in less than a day. So they're probably sick of answering the phone right now. So I'm going to call them as many times as possible, but they'll probably call that one time. They don't answer and they'll move on. And then they'll keep going. They'll see, okay, maybe they'll flip through these photos 15 times, click on it, look at it, read the description all the way. Then they'll probably look at the comps, go on lot lines, overanalyze. I don't know. Okay, they have one that's listed for 410. Okay. They'll go back, try to run the comps again, zoom out, try to see what sold. Overanalyze this. They might click on a few of these other listings, see how long they've been on the market. Bull crap. Bull crap. That's what your competition is doing. That's why somebody like me is able to come in. I come from nothing. I'm not even that smart. And to be honest, to be a millionaire, you don't need to be smart. To make it in wholesale real estate, you don't need to be smart. You don't even need to know real estate like that. You just have to be persistent and consistent. Persistent and consistent and disciplined to do it every single day. I just see it. I call them. I'm not looking at none of that. I see the pictures. I see the city. I don't even pay attention to the city that much, but I see the city. I see their number. I'm calling it. I'm calling it. All that other stuff, we could talk about that on the phone. That's something else to talk about when you're going through comps with the seller on the phone or when you're on your first hold, right? That's the time to look at the comps. That's the time to talk about all this other stuff, what sold, what hasn't sold, all this other stuff. But before you call, bro, that is the number one mistake that I see most people most beginner wholesalers make. Stop doing it. So boom. So if that's you, if I'm speaking something right now and you're resonating with it, like that's me. Make the change. Don't let this video that you're watching go to waste. Don't watch this video, be entertained for a little bit, feel like you're doing something, and then don't change anything. You go back to calling houses on Zillow, like how I just said, and you just keep cherry picking, you keep da 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 da. Don't do it, bro. And then here's a lot of thing. Here's another thing. Wholesalers will do that, what I've been saying, right? They'll cherry pick, they'll call a few, nobody answers, which is normal, by the way. Let me affirm something for you. That shit is normal. You're not gonna get a deal on your first phone call, let alone your first day or 30 days. Like you're not gonna get a deal like that, especially if you're cherry picking. And so what happens is 30 days go by of them doing what I just said, and then they'll think, what's wrong with me? They'll think, what are these other wholesalers doing that I'm not doing? You'll see success from people like me or somebody else, and you'll be like, what is he doing that I'm not doing? Nothing. It's not that I'm doing something differently. I'm just doing more than you. My acquisition manager in there, Ian, is a savage. So is Sebastian. They're savages. They're on the phone right now. They don't stop being on the phone. Like, you have to understand what's normal in sales and in real estate. And when you're in a volume sales game, everybody's not going to answer the phone. Why do you think we pull hundreds of thousands of records every single month? It's not because 100,000 of people answer the phone every day. No, it's because out of those 100,000 records that we pull, shit, I don't know, but at least, I mean, max 10 or 20% of the people are answering, max, right? Out of 100 people you dial, one of them might be willing to sell. One out of 100. So, out of the 100,000 records we pull, half of them are like wrong numbers, half of them, they're not answering the phone, half of them, it's not the real phone number or it goes straight to voicemail or whatever the case, or they're not interested in selling. You think we just stop? You think we just stop? Oh, no, nobody said they wanted to sell. Nobody's answering the phone. Okay. Just use common sense. You have to call and dial. The only difference between a winner and a loser in wholesale real estate is that the winner lives and stays where the quitters quit. The winner keeps going when the loser stops. And the losers, here's another thing, they'll get in their head for 90% of the day. They'll call people and they'll get cursed out maybe one time and the other people don't answer and they'll be like, what's wrong with me? Is something wrong? And then they try to go figure something out. They try to go figure something out as if what I'm telling you doesn't work. There's nothing to figure out, guys. Nothing to figure out here. Nothing else to do. There's no secret formula. The secret formula is consistency, dedication. Go look at, my videos when I was in Houston. Like that shit was hard. Uploading to YouTube consistently is hard. Calling people every day and being willing to get rejected every day, that shit is hard. That's a problem with a lot of wholesalers is I don't know who told them it, but for some reason they think that this is going to be easy. It's not easy. It's very hard. It's very difficult. It's super simple though. That's what a lot of people don't like either. I'm telling you to call, and then you get on your like 10th call and you're like, well, this isn't working. Call more. Have y'all seen The Wolf of Wall Street? Right? When he's giving the speech to the Strattonites, he's like, does your girlfriend think you're a worthless loser? Is your rent due? Are you behind on your bills? Good. Pick up the phone and start dialing. The best sales book that I've ever read so far is The Way of the Wolf by Jordan Belfort. And in the beginning of the book, he talks about how his early salespeople You know, before he made millions and millions of dollars, the early salespeople would complain that they were getting all these objections. They would complain that nobody wants to buy, all this other stuff. And then that's when Jordan Belfort came up with a sales process, right? And objection handlers, how to overcome objections. The key is you just got to keep dialing. You got to keep dialing, stick to a sales process, don't divert from it. Okay, let's go over the fifth mistake. The fifth mistake, not sticking to the process. If you go get my Zillow script that I give away for free, if you go use that, bro, you got to stick to the script. Stop. A lot of people, they'll get on the phone with the seller and they immediately just get off the script. They immediately just start talking. They're going some other way, or they talk about the price within the first few minutes of the phone call. They don't read the intro. They don't set expectations for the seller. They don't tell them how they work. They don't tell them that they're investors. They act like they're the buyer. Don't do that. Stick to the process on every phone call. What y'all will do is y'all will make 10 phone calls, 3 people will answer, and then you'll stick to the process, and 3 people are like, I don't want to hear this shit. Hurry up and give me an offer. And because that happens, you think, well, I can't stick to this script. It doesn't work. You don't know if it works because you only did it 3 times. You have to have like a data set, right? How did I find out that the magic formula is 20 conversations and 3 30-minute script offers? How did I find out that that works? I had to do it thousands of times. Thousands of times. And then I figured out that more times than not, this shit works. I am a living proof and example of that. And so are my students. Go look at the interviews. I just did an interview with Jara and Caleb. Bro, they stuck to the script. They persevered. They pushed through. They made it happen. Yeah, I can't tell you the amount of times that they called me and they were like, well, this seems like it doesn't work, or they're not responding well to this. And I just had to be there to reaffirm to them, like, it does work. Just keep going. Right? I had to just reaffirm, or Xavier. I can't tell you how many times in the past Xavier used to call me like, man, the sellers are saying this, the sellers are saying that. What am I doing? Nobody's answering the phone. You just got to call more people, because a lot of the times you guys will come to me with issues or something and say, my contract fell through. What do I do? What do you mean? Right? Some of y'all are like, what is he talking about? Yeah, what happens when your contract falls through? Guys, I had 13 contracts the other month and all of them fell through except for like 3. You're not even on my level, bro. Like, you're not even on the level to start complaining about contracts falling through. The problem with you having one contract falling through is that you only had one contract. That's your problem. The minimum is 9 contracts at one given time. So at any given time, you should have a minimum of 9 contracts. So if you don't have 9 contracts signed simultaneously, okay, well, you're behind. You're not doing enough. You're not doing enough. You understand? You need to have 9 contracts at any given time, right? The industry standard is 50% of your contracts fall through. So if you have one contract, what does that tell you? There's like a 90% chance that you're going to fail. If you have one contract at any given time, you're going to fail. You're going to lose. Now, there's exceptions to the rule. Of course, there's people that close a 100K deal on their first try. Of course. Of course. That is an exception to the rule, but we are speaking in generalities here, and you have to be prepared and dedicated to go through the generalities of wholesale real estate. You have to be prepared for the general rules. That way, when you do become an exception, okay, well, that's awesome. But you don't want to wish for that. You don't want to get lucky, y'all. I know y'all are dying for some money. Y'all are dying for a check to go through. But if you get lucky on your first few calls, you're never going to learn what it really takes to be successful. Period. You know why I'm able to push through any difficulties right now, like all that. I'm able to push through because I've been through it already. I know what it takes to be successful. I know how many phone calls it takes to get somebody to answer the phone. I know how many times it takes somebody to answer the phone to get somebody to be interested. I know how many interested people it takes for one of them to get a contract. And I know how many contracts it takes for at least one of them to close. 9. 9. I didn't make this shit up. This isn't just magic numbers that I pulled out my ass. No, this is data. I had to take the time out my day to study the data points. What are the KPIs? Okay. So every single day, you need to make a certain amount of dials so you could get a certain amount of people on the phone. And you need to get a certain amount of people on the phone so you could make a certain amount of offers. And you need to make a certain amount of offers every day, every week, and every month. So a certain amount of those offers get accepted and turned into a contract. And you need to get a certain amount of contracts signed so a certain amount of deals close. And what did I say was the key to this? Consistency. So that means that you need to consistently get a certain amount of contracts signed, so consistently a certain amount of deals close. How do you get consistent deals every single month? It's not some secret fucking marketing strategy. It's not. It's numbers. It's numbers. If you want a certain amount of deals to close, how many deals do you want to close? You want one deal to close a month? Okay, well, then that means you need to get a minimum of 4 contracts, new contracts signed a month. Minimum. You want 2? Okay, well, you need to get a minimum of 8 contracts signed every single month. On average. This is on average, guys. And this is volume. This is and I'm saying 8 contracts signed a month. I'm speaking to the beginners here. There are people who are skilled, more skilled than you, like me, right? Who could get 8 contracts signed and 2 of them bitches are closing. Because I know what I'm doing and because I'm skilled, I have a mouthpiece and I could analyze a deal faster and better than you, and I could negotiate better than you. But if you don't have any of that, well, then you need to do more than me. You need to do way more than me. If I'm more skilled than you and I'm working more than you, well, then, dude, you're just going to be a loser, right? And eventually you could use the leverage that you have, whether that's money, influence, data, software, whatever, to where you could get more amount of work done with less effort. See, I could get more results with less effort than you because I'm more skilled. And I could get more amount of calls done in the less amount of effort because I have 2 acquisition managers. So while I'm here recording this video, and guys, you can't do this overnight. You can't. Even if you had all the money in the world, bro, you got to know what you're doing first. So you have to put in the work first, right? But going back to what I'm saying, they're making the offer. So now I can make 6 offers a day without making any offers, if that makes sense. I'm not making the offers. My 2 acquisition managers are making the offers. So I'm getting 6 offers a day. Quality offers. Minimum. That's with me doing nothing. Now, I'm not saying I do nothing. I'm mainly transaction coordinating and dispoing, and then I make my offers here and there. But you got to work up to that. So you're at the bottom of the pyramid. So again, you have no right to skim through and cherry pick these deals, these leads. You have 281 leads to call. You need to call each of them 5 times. You need to dial each of them 5 times until they answer, right? And if, let's say, that's a hard day's work, right? That's a full day's of work. If you hit 20 KPIs, if you hit 20 conversations and 3 30-minute script offers, that's a full day's of work. After that, you could take a rest, take a break, fuck off, do whatever you want. But until you do that, bro, don't stop. Right now, tomorrow comes. Tomorrow comes. You have to do the same exact thing. Let's go into mistake number 6. They're not consistent. They'll do it for one day and they'll be like, man, that fucking sucks. That was hard. And then they don't do it the next day, or they'll do it for a week. And because they don't make $10,000 within a week, they're like, well, that sucks. Yo, when I went to Houston, it was 3.5 months before I made a single dollar. Why was that? Because I had to figure it out. I had to figure it out. But you guys don't have to figure it out. I'm giving you the sauce right here. Hit the KPIs. Call these leads. It was 3.5 months before I made a single dollar. Are you guys willing to do that or no? Because if you're not, well, then stay at your 9 to 5 And there's nothing wrong with having a 9 to 5. But why even start if you're not okay with going through what it takes to be successful? If you're not willing to put in the work consistently every single day, don't start. Don't start. Eric Thomas had a quote that goes like, if you're going to give up, you should have given up way earlier. Now you're in the 12th round. You put in a week's worth of work. You put in a month's worth of work. You put in 3 months worth of work. Why would you quit now? It's not worth it to quit now. You just should have never started. But I'm here to tell you the ugly truth about wholesale real estate. And it's that this shit is hard. But anything you do is hard. And you can't keep bouncing around drop shipping, trading, wholesaling, SMMA, solar. You can't do all of them. You got to pick one and go ham at it every single day. Okay. So take notes of what I just said right now. Most people overanalyze. How do they overanalyze? They cherry pick and they skim through these deals without calling a single one. They'll take 10 to 15 to 20 to 30 minutes before they make the first dial. Number two, they only dial once. Dial 3 to 5 times every single lead. And don't be scared when they answer the phone. Number three, stick to a script and a process every single time. Just because 5 people curse you out because you stuck to the script doesn't mean that the script doesn't work. Do you have to go off the script and like freestyle sometimes? Yes, but get back on the script. Stick to the process. You might say something off the script, but you always want to tie it back into the process. Say the intro, do the fact find, ask the motivation question, put them on 2 holds. Then at the end of it, congratulations, Mr. Seller, your property got approved. This is the first one that they approved for me all week. Let me just explain what they approved. They approved to buy it as is in its current condition, which means you don't have to sweep, mop, paint, nothing. They said that they'll pay all cash, which means this isn't like some traditional real estate transaction where they have to go get approval from a lender or a bank. This is all cash straight to you, right? And we'll cover all the closing costs and there's no commissions taken out. So this number that I'm about to give you is a net number that you get to take to you, to the bank, directly to you, right? Obviously minus any mortgages, liens, or prorated taxes. And then you give them the offer. Okay, let me tell you another mistake. I've been seeing this a lot. You see how this house is listed for $68,000? How much do you think you're going to offer them? I can tell you right now how much you're supposed to offer them. 30,000. You're supposed to offer them 30,000, 34,000 max. Why? Offer half this estimate, because if you try to run comps and you try to figure out what's the most I could offer, well, you're just, one, wasting time, and two, you're probably going to give the wrong offer. But I'm telling you, 95% of the time, if you just offer half of what they're asking, it's probably the right offer. It's probably the right offer. It's either half of this or half of this estimate. It looks like it's already at half this estimate. So guess what? I'm going to offer them half of what they're asking. I'm not going to offer half this estimate, period. Because this estimate could be off sometimes. But you offering half of what they're asking, 9 times out of 10, 9.5 times out of 10, that's the right offer that you got to make, period. Don't overanalyze it, okay? That's another mistake. Don't overanalyze the offer price. Offer them half, and if they don't accept it, it's okay. Try to negotiate a little bit, but if they don't accept it, move on. Here's one last mistake. Is you guys, let's say you do what I say, as far as like you calling everybody and you're making offers and you're offering half. One of the biggest mistakes that you can make, guys, is just doing that every single day and not following up. This is the beauty of Zillow leads, is that eventually, I can tell you right now, this person right now, eventually this person, since it's such a hot lead and they have so many views on it already and it hasn't even been up for a day, eventually they will get tired of the phone calls and they will say, fuck this, I'm out. And they will take their listing off of Zillow. What does that mean for you? That means that now, if you took down the information and you imported it into your CRM, right? I always recommend Podio for starting out. You have their data somewhere, either whether in your CRM or in a notebook. You have an off-market real estate lead now. You have an off-market real estate lead, and it was motivated. The worst thing that you could do is put all this work and work and work and not get the rewards from it because you never followed up. I'm closing a deal next week that is, the lead is a year old. The lead is a year old, a little over a year. How was I able to follow up with them? Because they're in my CRM and I have organized data. So guys, follow up with them. You called this person today, they didn't accept your offer, fine. Follow up with them in a week, then in another week, then in another week. And if you kind of get the idea, like they're not budging, they don't want to go with you, they hate you at this point, okay, well then you follow up in 30 days, 3 months. You got to be persistent and give them the best experience possible on the first phone call. Make sure that you're giving them top tier customer service on that first phone call, right? Imagine if I called this lead when it was only up for 10 minutes and I gave them the best world-class customer service that they could ask for. And I still offered them half, which is $100,000. They will remember me. And hopefully everybody else who calls them, hopefully they piss them off and they don't give them good customer service like me. Hopefully some dumbass wholesaler locks them up for too high and they, drag them along for 30 to 60 days and they never close and they end up backing out. And now they have this sour taste in their mouth and they're just pissed off and they're frustrated and they just want to give up. Now you could come in with a cape on and you could save the day. And you could be like, yeah, Mr. Seller, I see a lot of that, right? A lot of these people who don't know what they're doing, they'll get you locked up for a certain price, which I know is too high, right? You probably knew in the back of your head, Mr. Seller, that it was too high too, and they were never able to perform on it. The reason I'm giving you the offer that I'm giving you, even though it's a bit lower than what you previously had in the past, it's an offer that I can guarantee I can close on. I'm not here to bull crap or waste your time, Mr. Seller. I'm here to give you the real spill and make sure that I perform on every single thing that I do. I don't do bad business. I don't do that. I'm here to make sure that I close on this property. And I know for a fact that at this price point of $100,000, I can close on it. Okay? So follow up. Follow up is key. Have a CRM. I always recommend Podio. If you want to know how to set that up, just go on my YouTube channel, Wholesale Real Estate playlist or Training with Students playlist, and I'll show you how to set up your Podio. Okay? And just don't overanalyze it. Don't run comps. The next thing is don't run comps before calling them. You call them, then you run comps. Okay? And stick to a process. I hope you guys got some value out of this. Okay? If you did get some value out of this, send this to somebody who you know will also get some value from this. Send this to a friend who you think is always over analyzing. Send this to a friend that you're wholesaling real estate with, and you know you guys don't make the right amount of offers that you need to make. You feel like maybe they feel or you feel like nobody's answering the phone. Send this to them and show them the brutal reality of what it takes to be successful in wholesale real estate. This is a sales business and this is a volume business. Make sure that you hit those numbers. Make sure that you hit those KPIs. If you want to work with me one-on-one and be a student, just fill out the form below. There's going to be a link to fill out a form. Fill that out or DM me on Instagram. That's probably better. DM me on Instagram. My information is going to be down there below. If you're serious and you just know you want to lock in, just DM me on Instagram or book a call. I'll call you up. And if you're a good fit, then let's get to it. All right. Make sure to hit the like button, comment, subscribe. I'm dropping weekly videos about wholesaling real estate, self-improvement, or just life in general. All right. Stay motivated.